COVID highlighted the need for healthy work environments and cold chain solutions to transport much-needed vaccines. At the World Economic Forum, our Brian Sozzi spoke to a global leader in the space, Dave Gitlin, CEO of Carrier. Take a listen.
There's obviously anxiety about the economy in both Europe and the United States, but I do think if you step back from that, there's sort of a couple of key themes. One is around sustainability, especially here in Europe, where 45% of the gas in Europe comes from Russia, and they're trying to wean themselves naturally off of Russian gas, and 60% of the gas goes towards heating. So there's this dynamic of we need more heat pumps, more energy efficient heating solutions, and there's a lot of anxiety as we approach these winter months. Are we going to have more heat pumps and more innovation to help us through this?
What has that meant for your business?
Our heating pump sales in the first quarter were up 30%. So there's clear demand. There's a lot of anxiety, but there's also a lot of opportunity. So for us, as we switch from traditional boilers towards more heat pumps, the opportunity is tremendous. Our key is being there for our customers, but also innovating. So we spend half of our R&D on sustainability.
Does some of the gloom here at this event surprise you? It has surprised me because this has not been a normal Davos. There's usually a lot of optimism, but I understand there's a lot on people's plates, but still, there's a lot to take in.
I think it almost feeds on itself. It's that every meeting you go to it starts with a conversation about inflation, which leads to rates, which leads to slowing economies. Is there a recession coming? How long will it last? And it becomes this kind of self-fulfilling discussion. But if you kind of step back, I believe there's a lot of reason for optimism. I think despite what happens in the economies in the United States and Europe, there is going to be growth, there's going to be winners and losers, and it's going to be who do you place your bets on? We have 25% of our business is aftermarket and recurring revenues. There are secular trends around healthy buildings and sustainable and improved cold chain. So if we can continue to innovate, continue to invest, I think there's reasons for optimism.
Are you preparing the business for a U.S. recession?
We have shown an ability that we can ride through any cycle. When COVID first happened, we were just becoming a public company, and we pivoted very hard, very quickly. We know how to deal with headwinds, and we've had plenty of them. I mean, we've had Russia, we have the shutdowns in China, we had the COVID situation in 2020. We've shown that no matter what gets thrown our way, we know how to pivot very hard. We know how to take out discretionary costs. We've done it very aggressively while still investing in growth.
No, that's right on. I have seen that consistently since you have become a public company. This year, if I'm right, you will see a $1 billion headwind from inflation. That is a huge number. Is that still the number people should be using when it comes to Carrier?
Yes. We came into the year saying we'd have $1 billion of price, $1 billion of inflationary headwind. I think the reality is that we've gotten more price than we thought. Pricing was better in the first quarter.
So you've been able to take price increases?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've actually, inflation may be a little bit higher than we thought, but we can tell you that price will be higher than what we thought. So we've been very aggressive on the pricing side. We've had no choice to be. But in some cases, we'd raise price once or maybe twice a year. In some of our businesses, we've raised price 5 or 6 times in the last 18 months. So we've been very aggressive on the price side, and our goal is to stay out in front of inflation.
Have you seen any easing in inflation?
No.
And where's it coming from? What components, what parts of the business?
Commodities. So we see it, now copper, steel, aluminum over the last few weeks coming down a bit, but we face it with raw materials. Electronic chips are very painful. Logistics costs are particularly painful right now, much higher than we projected. So we look at, the container issues coming out of China. We look at even truck trailer type costs in the United States and Europe. So logistics continues to be higher. But again, the good news is we can offset that. So our goal, if we can just stay out in front of inflation, internally we try to assume the worst and then price accordingly.
You were very early in helping the pandemic, helping us get vaccines to those that needed them. Where does your business now stand as it pertains to continuing to fight the pandemic?
We're going to continue to lean into cold chain, and it's not only because of vaccine distribution, but more than 90% of vaccines have to be distributed in a cold chain solution. So whether it's food or vaccines or other pharmaceuticals, we're really leaning in. There's 3 billion people in the world that don't have access to vaccines because of insufficient cold chain. So we see this as a secular trend. We've invested in a digital tool with AWS called Lynx, where it can help avoid excursions in different parts of the handoffs in the cold chain. So we've seen orders up significantly through COVID, and they've continued.
That was Dave Gitlin, the Carrier CEO, with Yahoo Finance's own Brian Sozzi. Tune in tomorrow for more coverage from Davos.